Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. In today's class we'll be learning how to make this beautiful corset top I have here from A to Z. You can see how neat the inside is. Everything is what you will be seeing in this video. So right now let's get started. You might be wondering how we came about the pattern. I have done that. That is my previous video before this very one. So I will advise you to just watch it, okay? And I'm going to put it on the screen and also in the description box below. So this pattern is what you will use to make your transparent corset, which I will make after this video, your transparent corset. So, but let's just make this bustier or over bust corset as it's being popularly called, okay? So make sure you make the pattern. Now, this dress we are making, this top we are making is snatched. I explained everything about waist snatching or cinching in the previous video. Now, what did I do with the pattern? All I did is to just cut my main fabric. I'm using a African print fabric and a matching lining, which is black. I just cut everything all out with half an inch seam allowance all around, except for the lower part, which I did 3/4 of an inch. Then the side 3/4 of an inch. Apart from that, all others are just half an inch. So the next thing I did was to enhance the fabric, both the lining and the main fabric, with hair stay, which is what I have here. This is what it looks like. Can you see? So it comes in black and white. I made use of the black. So the next thing is for us to just see what we have done. And as I have said, you will be padding the lining, okay? So this is the main fabric. This is what we have. You can see it. So what I usually do is to notch all the underbust, the bust points. They are very, very important. If you look at my pattern, my fabric very well, I've notched all those points. So this is what I will do. The next thing now is to join everything to become one piece. And then I'll go over to the lining. This is the lining. And then I'm going to pad it up with the wadding. So this is what the wadding looks like. So I'm going to be padding the lining, as I've said, because of the bust structuring or bust caging, as you know it, okay? So let's do that also, and then we'll join both the front and the back. I pad the lining, and this is what we have. Looking at it, I started from the underbust, and then from this panel, just 1 inch inward here, and then here, make sure it is 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. The reason is we have half an inch for seam allowance, and the 1/4 inch is going to be ease, so that when you are folding, you have enough ease to press it so well. So the next thing I will do now is to join all the lining together and all the main fabrics together. Guys, I have joined all the panels, and you can see how beautiful it came out. So I gave it a good press and it looks good. So on the wrong side, this is what it looks like. Make sure you press open all your seam. Then this is the lining. Can you see how it looks? So I padded it as I've explained. Okay, so the next thing we'll do now on the ironing board is the bust structuring or bust caging, as you know it. And then the main fabric, we are now going to have to put the bones. I'm going to teach you that on everything. So first we are going to put on the seam lines before we now start adding in between everything. So right now let's go to the sewing machine. So this is the back. Also press open your seam and also the lining. Hi guys, we are at the sewing machine, and what we are about to do now is to fix up our bones on the main fabric. Looking at this, I've done these two. So the first thing we are going to do is to wrap up our bones like this, which I'm going to teach you how to do that before we now start placing on the seam line like I did here. So the first thing we are going to do now is to get the bone, and then nose. Like now, the next one I'm going to do now will be the one in the middle before this. And how do I go about it? I'll just take my bone. Okay, so this is the 10 mm bone. What you are going to do is to leave 3/4 inch from the edge here, both above and below. Fine, we are taking in half an inch seam allowance, but I will advise you to do 3/4 because it kind of give it ease, and then it makes it lay properly by the time you are turning your neckline and also hemming the lower part. So just leave about 3/4 of an inch, and then also below. So here I will stop somewhere around here, okay, and then cut it off. So now let us wrap with the strip of fabric for us to wrap the bone. So how do we go about that? Here I have a strip which is 1¼ inch. I just cut out so many, okay? Just cut as many as possible. Now I will advise you to do the wideness of 1½. But for me, I don't want to start trimming off. So I just want it to be accurate like what I have here. Instead of to start trimming it off, so I had 1¼ wideness. Good. So now this is the right side of the doll face I'm using. I'm now going to take the bone. So this is the right side. I'm going to place it on the wrong side this way. And remember, I told you to always leave 3/4 inch on your fabric. So leave 3/4 inch here, okay? And then you now start sewing this way. Can you see? So this is how we are going to start sewing it. We are going to leave 3/4 of an inch, and then you wrap it this way, just 1/4 of an inch. So take your time. So then you start using your fingers to adjust it this way. So you are sewing to the edge of the bone. Keep taking your time. So I'll still go down a bit because of the 3/4 of an inch, and I'll trim it off. So this is what it now looks like. Can you see? So the next thing is for you to now wrap it this way. Can you see? So that's the next thing to do, and the bone is fully ready. So if you maybe cut out 1.5, then you can now trim off the excess. Remember, you are sewing at the edge of the bone. So can you see how we have successfully wrapped our bone? So now let's go back to the fabric. Go about. So can you see? So the next thing is to place your bone this way. So you see from the edge. So it will be in the middle. And then I'm just going to sew on each side. So I'm just going to start from the left side. So you just keep checking that it's in the middle. So one side has been fixed, so the next thing is to start on the other side. So that is how to fix your bone on the fabric. So the next one I'm going to be fixing is this side. So once I do that, I'm also going to fix on this side. Then we can now start fixing in between this. You can have as many bones as possible, or you can just leave it at all the same line, but I still want to have in the middle the bone on all the same line. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now is to create more channels. So all I did is to create a channel in between. So I drew the line. So I'm also going to make bones for it and place it the same way I showed you how to do that. So like this now, which will be this. So since I drew the line, just the midpoint. So it's as easy as that. So can you see? So I'm just going to go ahead and just sew that all down. Then I keep doing that for all the channels. So let me just do that. With the bones, and you can see how beautiful it all came out. So the only thing now is for me to give it a good press. So another thing you can do is you can also create another design here. Okay, so just note that this will have to enter into this bone we have here, and make sure it doesn't get in the way of the seam allowance at the side. So you can have it however you want. You could even have something like this, however design you want. So having done this, this is finished. Also the back, everything has been well finished. So the next thing now is for us to go to the bust structuring. For the bust structuring, there are different ways you can go about this. Okay, so focus now is on the bust area, because you are going to be going without a bra. So you need something that's going to be so strong to be able to carry the boobs. So there are different ways, and also the neckline is very essential. So first I'm going to teach you how to make your bones curve. Can you see your bone is usually straight, but you can make it curve this way. So all you have to do, and for your bone structuring or bust caging as you know it, I would advise you use these smaller bones. So the first thing you need to do is to scrape this. Just use your scissors. Scrape this. We want to get out the fabric and have just the plastic bones inside, so that we can be able to pull, because we are working around curved areas. So you want to make sure it's curved along. So can you see now I have the plastic exposed, so you can see that. So that's what we want to achieve. So you can just trim this off. So the next thing you want to do now is to get a plier. So I just have to borrow this. The one I have is very small. So just grip the plastic, and then you can just pull the bone. So looking at it now, so by the time you are walking around the curved part, it will be easy. Can you see? Can you see how easily I tilted it? So that's because I've shrink it, pull it in, so you'll be able to walk easily with around the curved area. So you can see that. So that's the tip. So now with this, now we can start structuring the bust area. The first one is the way I pack the structure, the lining. Just follow everything that way to make it easier for you. So the first thing is to start from this point here and go all the way to the underbust. You are sewing on the wadding straight here and stop here. So that is one. Then that of the neckline, that is very, very important. So that's why you need to learn that tip I've just shown you. So you go through to this way. So here you can decide to have one here too, or you can decide to ignore. But the most important one from experience is usually the neckline. Then from here, going this way, back here. This one is very, very important. If you have just only this one I've done, trust me, it's just going to come out perfectly, and even without bra you are good to go. So then don't forget that of this point on the bust point line. So now let's get started. So the first one I will be making do with is this, and when you are working with it from the edge, make sure it is 3/4 inch. Fine, we have half inch seam allowance, but make sure you do away with 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to start from here. So remember, you are sewing on the bones, okay? So here you need to take your time. And you are sewing on the side. So here now I've stopped at the underbust, so I can cut this off. I've sewn it, only one side. I'm still going to sew this other side. But looking at it, you will see that the structure is forming so well. I really want you to see what we are doing. So can you see the structure? It helps the structure. So by the time I sew the other side, it's going to stay very well. So what I've done here, I'm going to do to these other parts before we come to the other one. So guys, you can see how it looks. So even looking at the structure, you can see it's okay. So on the wrong side, this is what we have. Can you see? So the next one I'm going to be doing is that of the middle. So from here, I'm just going to walk through it to the other side. Make sure you are straightening your fabric as you are sewing it, okay? So that is just it. I'm going to start again. That stitch. Make sure you are sewing on the side. So when I get here, I'll make sure I walk through it being curved, because you don't want it to just be flat. So walk through it being curved. Guys, can you see what I'm talking about? So with this, you can see how the structure is formed. So for me, even if you don't want to do this very one, and it's still going to come off, and just make sure you do the neckline again, and trust me, it will just come very okay. So with this one now, I can now do this very one. Make sure you use the tip I just taught you by stretching it in to make it curve, especially these parts. So let me just fix that and then show you the rest. So here I've made the bone curved, so I'm just going to trim this off, and then I'm going to make sure it covers this. And can you see how easily it's curving out? So that will really help you a great deal, okay? So that's how I'm going to go about the neckline too. So just take your time. Good. Just hope you can see. So you can see how it's curved. So that's the essence of it. So it won't stress you, and then it will naturally take up the curved shape. Can you see how I'm going about it? That's how I'm going to do all through, okay? Can you see? So that's how I'm going to keep going. So guys, we are through, and you can see how beautiful and neat it is. So you can still have some bones here and here as much as you want, but these are the most important parts where you should have your bones, and you can see how lovely it came out. So on the right side, this is what it looks like. Can you see? So this is the one that will be on your skin, which is very beautiful. So the next thing we are going to do now is to use a fiber or wadding or estee, whatever you have, to enhance the structure. So let's go to the work table. So the next thing we are going to do now is to enhance it with the fiber so that it doesn't irritate you on your body. Then you need your hemming glue too. So all you have to do now is to push it to the wrong side. So again, if I have time, I can still put more bones. So one here, but just make sure you tuck it into it. But irrespective of that, you can still use your fiber to cover it up. So what you are just going to do is to do this. You need a steam iron, trust me. So you just need to place it this way as much as possible. So you can double it too. Okay, so you need your hemming glue to be much. If you have those wider ones too, that would be very beautiful. So once you do that, then you can place this on it. Can you see? So you can pin it down. So with this is just accurate. I don't need to. You can stretch a little bit. So you need your steam iron here. So by the time I glue it, the excess I can now just trim it off. Good press, and you can see how well it's laid, both on the wrong and the right side, except for this bust area. Because we are having a standing neckline, that is why it's not so curved. I hope you understood that. Let's say it is not having this high neck, it will be more curved. So we didn't contour this upper part very well. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to take this, iron this with the hemming glue, and you can see how it came out. So can you see that? So the next thing now is, I now later added those two lines I told you. So you can do that and you can ignore. So the next thing now is to make sure wrong side are facing each other, and I'm going to hem the neckline and the armhole region. The front panel is fully ready, and you can see how beautiful it looks. So I've given it a good press, and on the inside this is what it looks like. Can you see that? So neat. And make sure you give it a good press. Then you can use your hemming glue to stick it down to give you a nice effect. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to attach the back to the front. But first, we are going to fix up the highlight area on the back. And how do I want to go about it? Now, this is the lining. Okay, so this is the lining on the back. So what I'm going to do now is, let me pick one to explain. I want to have 2 cases of bone. Now, what I will do is this. Remember, we had ½ inch seam allowance on the main fabric to turn it up. So you are going to leave that ½ inch seam allowance up 0.6, so that at least when you take 0.5, it will be easy. So I'm going to leave that ½ inch and sew this down on both sides. Then I'm going to leave 1 inch seam allowance and then place this other bone on the lining, okay? And I will teach you how to finish it on the right side. I'm also going to do this on the other lining. So I have sewn the bone, as I've said. Can you see what I was talking about? And as I've always hammered, do not sew to the end of your outfit. So what I'm going to do next now is to pick one, and then I'm going to be sewing right side to right side facing each other. Okay, good, this way. And then go back to the sewing machine. I'm going to start from here, ½ inch. Remember, on the main top, we've already finished the neckline. So taking the ½ inch here, straight down here, and then bring it on the right side. The back, right side facing each other. So all I did is to do ½ inch straight down. So for this, I brought it out. Okay, so after bringing it out, it's easy to bring out despite the bones. It's just like that of the upper part too. So because it's wriggling bone, it's usually easy. Can you see how I brought it out easily? So it's as easy as that, and you give it a good press. So also for the front too, here when bringing it out, it might look stiff and hard, but it is wriggling bone, so it's going to come out. Just keep pushing it out. Then back to this. So having brought it out on the right side. So you give it a good press. Make sure you push it out. Yes. Good. So once you put it out this way, so looking at this one, I've created the 2 channels. So 1, 2. So all you have to do now is this. On the wrong side, on the existing bone you sew on, just sew on it 1, then the second one 1, 2, and that is it. So you have your channel in between. So it is in between here that you have your grommet. Okay, so that's how to do it. Then another thing, if you want it to stand out, you can use, for this last piece, you can use maybe this black top face for it, just to make it stand out. But I just want to use the African print fabric. So that's how you do it. So I haven't turned it out this way. I'll just take the hand here, sew it down. You can use the back here as a guide. Then this second one 1, 2. So having done that, the next thing we are going to do now is to put this together. Remember, this is open, this is open, this is also open. So all you have to do is to make them match at this point. Okay, and then you sew these down. Because this is still open, is easy. Then you sew these 2 down, and I will do that for both sides. So guys, her top is almost ready. So I've joined the sides, as you can see, on the wrong side. So because it's still open, it's easier to go about that. So having done that, on the inside, this is what it looks like. You can see it's just so beautiful. So after finishing, just give it a good press. So the next thing I'm going to do now is this. The next thing I'm going to do is to get these bones. Now we are through with all the bones, but here now we need one by the side. So I already got one here that I've done, and don't remember, I always leave excess here. So for this side, you're just going to sew it along with the lining. Just fold it this way. Just fold it and place it right on the edge here. Can you see? And then you're just going to follow the seam. And that is how you have your bone on the side. Then you could want to have another style line from the waist. So here I have a smaller one. So from the waist, or just beneath the waist, I'm just going to place that this way. And here, remember, it should not get to the end. Can you see? Before you now have this on the waist, can you see how we've created another style line, which is so beautiful? And as you're having it here, you can also have it at the back. So you could have something like this. So however you want to do it depends on your preference. So I'm just going to fix all that, the both side. So I can just have to the front, fix my highlight, and then use another strip of fabric to finish the lower parts, and that is all. Corset top is ready, and you can see how beautiful it looks. It came out so well. I fixed the grommet, and you can see how beautiful it all looks like on the inside. Everything is so neat and beautiful. So I really want to see yours to be beautiful. Okay, so you can share with us on our Facebook group, Sewing Innovation, and you can also tag me on Instagram. Can you see that? This is just so beautiful. I love every bit of it. So I'm just going to put it on the mannequin for you to see it. And guys, this is the outcome of our corset top. You can see how beautiful it looks. This is just so beautiful. And who says a plus size cannot rock a corset? That's a lie. So if this tutorial on how to make this corset has been helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Please, if you have not subscribed, please ensure to subscribe and share with your family and friends. So you can follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovation. For our sewing tools, we have them available, and for our online classes and physical classes, use the number in the description box to get to us. I remain your girl, Bilikis. Bye, guys.